This is episode 11 of Pokemon Heart and Soul. Pikachu. We start in a clearing in the forest. Mareep is sending a thunderbolt at Ursaring. Though much to its shock, Ursaring simply takes this and gives Mareep a quick swipe on the forehead, which sends the little electric type flying. Okay, that's enough, says Mason, not liking how much damage that one slash did to his starter, but very impressed with his newly evolved normal type's power. Grape quickly stands back up, reassuring its trainer that it's fine. Meanwhile, Ursuline has taken this moment of non-attention on it to take a nap. Polito jumps in front of them and pokes Ursuline, getting no response. Pichu and Sutowuto were more of just chilling. Speaking of Sutowuto, it was unfortunately quite weaker than all of Mason's other Pokemon, Pichu included. Pichu was actually pretty strong at this point. Mason wasn't sure if Sutowuto could catch up, especially as the Pokemon seem more interested in pretending to be a tree than learning how to battle. But this was not the most troublesome of Mason's Pokemon. Mason then hears the loud grumbling of Ursaring, which is not a surprise to him, so he, without much thought, tells his Pokemon to split up and see if they can find any food. Obediently, they all go scavenging. But now that Mason's alone, he feels like doing something that the others would not like. When Kingdra was first traded to him, it seemed quite weak. But this seems to have been a false assumption. And Kingdra ignores every command and always acts out in violence. Mason slowly approaches it. This slow approach is rewarded with a painful headbutt in the stomach. Mason is sent flying into a tree. But alas, it seems not all of his Pokemon are that far out scavenging, as Pichu jumps down with a Thunder Punch, obviously intent on hitting Kingdra, who simply counters with a rather lazy Twister. Unfortunately, this also draws attention, though unlike that of Pichu's attention, this one is not expected. As a man comes out of the tree dressed in black with a red R on his chest. A member of Team Rocket. Mason immediately recognizes the danger, and apparently so does Kingdra. As the second the man sends out his Houndour, Kingdra seems to be on the attack, sending out a Twister, which is quickly responded to with a smoke screen. And then the man is gone. So is his Houndour. Okay, Mason says, feeling a bit like that was strange. He had never known Team Rocket members to run away without getting whatever they want or being completely defeated. But then he notices something, and that is the very large lack of a Pichu. Mason's eyes widen. "Pichu!" he shouts, charging into the trees, much to Kendra's surprise. Mason reaches a cliff, cornering the Team Rocket grunt. And in the grunt's hand is Pichu. Mason immediately demands that he release Pichu, which the grunt immediately refuses, and so Mason reaches for his Pokeballs, only to remember none of his Pokemon are with him right now. The Team Rocket grunt sends out his Houndoom, and Houndoom immediately goes for the attack with a flamethrower, which Mason has no choice but to take head on, as he once again demands that the grunt release Pichu, despite being singed slightly from the flamethrower. This, it seems, triggers something in Pichu, who finally, with a giant jolt of electricity, is able to escape the man's hand and jumps to Mason. As Pichu is in the air, a glow covers it. And so it is a Pikachu that reaches Mason, more than ready for battle. And so this battle truly begins, with Pikachu landing a Thunder Punch and countering a Crunch with a Dizzy Punch. But alas, while Pikachu is fast and strong, Houndour has leverage. And unfortunately, Pikachu is not as careful as it should be when battling on a cliff. Thus, Pichu slips, and Mason, without a second thought, jumps after it. A giant tornado of dragonic energy surrounds him as he falls, and when he lands, it's not in the water, but rather on the back of the water dragon type Kendra. The grunt and his Houndour both glance down, only for them to be fed a hydro pump from Kendra, and with that, Mason can tell that they're retreating. "Kendra, you saved us," Mason says cheerfully. Kendra nods solemnly. And with that, Mason has now befriended Kendra, and Pichu has now evolved. And that's going to be all for today's episode. So I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you next time.